Here goes nothing. The coronavirus vaccine will arrive in Colorado in a matter of days. We're going 360 on phase 1.
We trust the process.
Weather advisories for the mountains in the Denver area, a few inches of snow and slick roads expected tonight.
Plus, lessons from the last mass inoculation.
Isn't this wonderful? The end of polio was in sight, but then we didn't have doses to give.
Unemployment numbers surge as rising cases and restrictions put Coloradans out of work.
CU Boulder tells students to stay home a little longer. Spring commencement ceremonies will be held online.
And Broncos safety Justin Simmons is recognized for being as good off the field as on. All right, so much to talk about, beginning with the weather. Good evening. Awfully glad you're with us tonight. I'm Shannon Ogden.
And I'm Jessica Porter in for Ann Trujillo. 2 or 3 inches of snow are likely to fall in Denver by tomorrow. A second blast will arrive Saturday.
Chief Meteorologist Mike Nelson manning the radar tonight. Not a major event, Mike, but could be some slick roads for the morning.
Indeed, and certainly a big change as far as temperatures. Right now, we're 34 degrees downtown. It's just in the 20s up into the mountains, and it is currently 24 degrees colder than it was 24 hours ago. Winter weather advisories in effect down to the south, the San Juans, La Garritas, down in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. That's where the heaviest snows, up to a foot around Wolf Creek Pass, are expected. Some scattered rain showers out on the eastern plains, and closer to Denver, starting to get some snow, parts of Park County and up into Gilpin and Clear Creek County, western sections of Jefferson County. You'll get in the Denver area by about 10 or 11 o'clock tonight. So snow develops tonight, slick for Friday morning, more snow on Saturday, and a snowier pattern as we get to the middle of December. The full forecast details are coming up.
All right, we're seeing a little bit. Thank you, Mike. On January 21st, the first known case of this coronavirus in the U.S. confirmed in Washington state. 11 months later, on the first day of Hanukkah, 15 days before Christmas, we have a vaccine.
I think we all let out a big hallelujah when we heard that. The beginning of the end of the pandemic is now underway. And now we're just having to get and make sure people get it in a timely fashion. There are no major mishaps in delivery, all while knocking down the inevitable conspiracy theories that are sure to pop up. We've made it this far. We'll make it through this as well.
And we'll do it the way we've done since the start. We'll do it together. And we'll be here also to answer every one of your questions every step of the way.
Tonight's 360 coverage begins with Russell Haythorn and the plan for this initial round of vaccines. Good evening, Russell. They could arrive by Saturday. Walk us through what happens after that.
Well, the first round will be going out to hospitals, Jessica, and then by this weekend, those healthcare workers like nurses and doctors will be getting the first of those vaccinations, and then those vaccinations from that first round will likely go into next week as well. We have some video to show you. Pfizer is offering those first rounds of vaccinations. The state of Colorado has ordered 47,000 doses in this first round. Then we will get weekly shipments, and it'll be the elderly and most vulnerable populations next in line to get them. You'll likely go to your primary care doctor to get the shot, or CVS or Walgreens, much like you do the flu shot. The vaccine is said to be 95% effective in the thousands who participated in clinical trials, and the side effects are mild for most.
The vaccine itself will cause local reactions. So where you're given the vaccine, it's going to be painful with that needle. You're going to have a sore muscle. You may have redness and stiffness of your arm.
It's certainly going to be a lot easier for patients if they can go to their primary care provider or to their local pharmacy and get this vaccine versus having to go to sort of one place and have long lines and a big wait. Like, that's not convenient for anybody, and we'd love to avoid that.
Colorado historically has a lower vaccination rate than most other states, so doctors are simply hoping that people will trust in this vaccine in order to get things back to normal sooner rather than later. We're live at the CDPHE headquarters in Cherry Creek. Russell Haythorn, back to you guys.
Russell, before you go, the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines require 2 doses, and there was a lot of concern about people not showing up for that second shot. So what's the plan for ensuring patients receive both rounds?
Yeah, the consequences for not getting the second dose would be low to no immunity. So, the feds don't have a plan in terms of tracking you, and they're certainly not going to pull you off the street to get you back for that second dose. But doctors' offices say that reminders do work, and so what will happen is when you get the first dose, they will book you for your second appointment, and then they will send you text messages and emails to get you back and to remind you. And one doctor's office in Michigan, even taking it a step further, they're offering cash incentives for you to come back, $50 if you come back for the second dose. That's likely not to catch on here, but it speaks to the seriousness of showing up for that second dose.
All right, Russell Haythorn tonight. Thanks, Russell. Of course, there's no perfect reference point for what federal, state, and local leaders are up against with this vaccine, but the race to cure polio comes closest. Denver7's Liz Gilardi with tonight's history lesson.
I was hospitalized shortly after my 4th birthday.
This photo shows Marnie Uhlberg when she was in the hospital with polio. She's the little kid on the tricycle.
That's the brace with the cuff around my calf that laces up.
She was hospitalized for 6 months. When she got out, she had to learn how to walk again. This doll in her home reminds her of what it was like growing up then.
So this is Katie. So she has braces and crutches, and this just reminded me of me and my childhood.
Marnie would go on to become a family doctor. She's now a retired physician and still runs a clinic for other polio survivors, and they've been talking a lot about COVID-19.
I think there are some interesting parallels. Both of them, there's a significant number of asymptomatic or relatively mildly affected people.
When we think of polio, we might think about images of iron lungs, leg braces, or President Roosevelt. It seems like a disease that's long gone, eradicated from our modern lives, all because of a vaccine.
An historic victory over a dread disease is dramatically unfolded at the University of Michigan, with the monumental reports that prove the Salk vaccine against crippling polio to be a sensational success.
Marnie remembers when that vaccine was released.
As soon as the Salk vaccine came out, my parents made sure that all of us in our family, including my sister and I, got the Salk vaccine. And when the Sabin vaccine came out, we got the Sabin vaccine. So I'm well immunized.
Elvis Presley even got a polio vaccine on The Ed Sullivan Show, a move that ultimately convinced many young people to get immunized. But vaccine production was slow. There wasn't enough supply. It's part of the reason why we're seeing a massive effort to distribute the COVID-19 vaccine before it's even available. As we get closer to that date, Marnie is worried about how many people are skeptical of the vaccine.
Although I think if the numbers start pretty rapidly decreasing, people may change their mind.
Marnie says she plans on lining up for the vaccine, just like she lined up to get the polio vaccine when she was a little girl.
I'm definitely hopeful.
Liz Gilardi, Denver7.
Thank you, Liz. And we held a full Q&A session on the vaccine during Denver7 News at 5. And you'll find that along with many more resources on our website. For now, we'd love to hear from you. What questions do you need answered? Is there something about the distribution plan that rubs you the wrong way? Let us know with an email to 360@thedenverchannel.com, and we may answer them ourselves, or we may put them to the governor and other health experts during our next town hall. That airs on Tuesday at 6:30 right here on Denver7.
And this vaccine cannot come soon enough. 72 more deaths reported in Colorado today, so that puts us over 3,000 to date. An additional 4,600 cases confirmed by the state. That's an increase from recent days. Hospitals, though, are doing a little bit better. 1,600 beds in use tonight. We were approaching 2,000 just a few days ago.
The latest report from the State Labor Department is about as bad as expected. As of November 28th, 224,000 Coloradans were relying on unemployment to get by. It was just 208,000 a week earlier. Counties began moving to level red status and laying off workers as a result on the 20th.
CU Boulder students will spend the first part of the spring semester at home. The university announced today it will not return to in-person classes until at least mid-February. And even then, it's unlikely everybody will return all at once. And I'm sorry to say, worst of all, graduation ceremonies will be held virtually.
In our previous commencements, we've had up to 20,000 individuals in our stadium for commencement. And given that number, we've not seen any indication that the county nor the state would allow us to hold outside events with that number of individuals.
A silver lining for some of you, as move-in will be delayed, room and board rates for students living in dorms will be adjusted.
Grand County Health Director Brene Ballou-Ledoux has chosen to resign following months of conflict with county commissioners. In a resignation letter, Ballou-Ledoux says she and other leaders often did not see eye to eye and that, quote, until recently, the Board of County Commissioners has not favored the public health prevention methods that we have supported, nor the state nor the nation. In a conversation with Denver7, Commissioner Richard Simino admitted there have been disagreements along the way, including on mandating masks, but said Ballou-Ledoux's service has been appreciated. Well, do you need help? The fire department is on the way. That story up next.